After the initial setup, pre-note verification, and completion of non-UAN steps required by your bank, you'll be ready to start EFT wages when the next payroll is due. This involves 4 steps. Add and post EFT wages, create an EFT file, upload the EFT file, delete the EFT file. Before we begin, you will need a quick overview of our Fake Buckeye Township's payroll schedule. In Training Land, today is Tuesday, July 24th. Our next payday is Friday, July 27th. When paying by EFT, currently most banks will require you to transmit the EFT file at least 2 days prior to the payroll deposit date. This is a general rule of thumb that may be different at your bank. You should speak with your bank representative to confirm their deadlines for transmitting the EFT file. Now at our township, since the payroll deposit day is Friday, technically we could wait until Wednesday to post wages and send the EFT file. However, we are paying these employees for work they completed June 30th through the 13th, and like I said, it's July 24th. So at this point, we have reviewed their time cards and gotten any corrections by now. In addition, at most banks, it does not hurt to transmit the file earlier as long as you enter the correct deposit date. Step 1. Add and post EFT wages. If you are watching this video, it is very likely that you already know the steps to add, edit, and post wages in UAN, and as you will see, the steps are just about the same when processing EFT wages. If you have never used UAN Payroll, I recommend you stop this video and watch the payroll training videos first before continuing with this series, since the emphasis of this video is only on the extra steps for EFT. As always, to add wages, we go to Payroll, Transactions, Wages, and then click the Add button. Notice the description warrant/EFT. So you see, adding an EFT wage starts from the same menu as adding a warrant wage. So I'll click it. Remember to be careful with those pay period dates. Click OK to that message. Nothing unusual there. I'll select in my sample township all my departments. But the payroll that's due Friday is only for bi-weekly paid employees, so I'll select bi-weekly and advance pay period date one ahead. I'm going to click on No, and we'll make edits in a little bit. By looking under the Type column, we can confirm at a glance which employees are set to receive direct deposit or a warrant when we post this payroll. On our list, we can see that the system will print an EFT pay stub for most of our employees, but 2 of them will receive a warrant. That's not a problem for us since our township permits employees to opt out of direct deposit, and Mr. Smith has chosen not to participate. On the other hand, Mr. Crank would like direct deposit, but he initially gave the fiscal officer an old bank account number that failed the pre-note test. He recently provided his new bank numbers, but we are waiting to validate a second pre-note file, so he'll continue to receive a warrant for now. To continue with our fake township edits, remember these are hourly employees, so we need to use our time cards to edit the wages with the correct hours and benefits for this period. Brutus, our fiscal officer, will take care of that in record speed using our video magic. Wow, that was fast. He even ran batch reports and confirmed the batch wages are correct. So now we're ready to post. Good job, Brutus. Taking a look at our list again, when you have a combination of EFT pay stubs and warrants, as I do, I recommend posting them separately. This will prevent you from accidentally posting warrants to plain paper or EFT stubs to warrant paper. I do not mean that you need to add them separately. You can see that I already added them all together. I just mean post them separately. There is a way to make it easier if, unlike me, you have a long list. Say you have 30 or even 100 employees. You can temporarily hide the wage types on the list using this filter menu right up here, the type. See how it says all? When I click EFT, see how it hides the two warrants? Or if I click it again and click on warrant, see how it hides all the EFTs? Then you can just select all and print whichever type you want to print first. When you're done, go and change the type back to the other type, like in this case EFT, and post and print those. Or for those of you who have a short list, I'll just change it back to all. If you have a small list like mine, just click the column heading to sort by type, and it'll make it easier for you to select just what you need quickly. Now that I've just got my EFTs selected, I'll click Post and Print. Get our normal message, post 8 selected items, click OK. And then this message is a little different. It's unique to when you're posting EFT wages. And you'll get this reminder whenever you're posting EFT wages, every time. Set the post date on the following form to the desired EFT deposit date, and make sure it is transmitted to your bank at least 2 days prior to the deposit date. I'll click OK, and I'll show you what that means. Just like when paying a warrant, you need to enter the correct post date. This is very important. The post date that you enter here should be the exact same date as the EFT deposit date at the bank. That is, the date the wages will direct deposit into each employee's bank account. Do not put in the date you transmit the file to your township's bank. The date you put in here should be the date your employees will have access to their money in their bank accounts. In training land, today's date is Tuesday, July 24th, and their payday is Friday, July 27th. So technically, our deadline to transmit the EFT file is July 25th, 2 days prior to the deposit date. Since we are ready and sending it early is not a problem with our bank, we'll continue. Besides that, this form looks a little different than when posting warrants. First, under wage printing, we now have a choice to print EFTs to plain paper or EFT forms. If you choose EFT forms, you will need to purchase this type of form from an office supply store or some other vendor, but it's not a requirement. Our default with UAN is to print them to plain paper, and I'll keep that setting. Don't be alarmed by the warrant number listed on this screen. UAN will not use that warrant number when posting EFT wages. Notice how user selected is grayed out? That's sort of a visual reminder that what you're printing now is EFT forms. Normally, if you're printing warrants, you'd have an opportunity to change the warrant number. It will not use the warrant number, it's simply displaying it on the screen. I will click OK, and a normal printer form opens, although the description is a little different. Printing 8 payroll EFTs. Load plain paper. There's one thing you can do on this form that you can never do when printing warrants. You can increase the number of copies. So for example, if I want to print 1 copy for my township records and then 1 copy for my employee, I simply bump it up to 2 copies. Note that if you always want to have more than 1 copy, you can set the default copies under General, Maintenance, User Preferences. And I will say, yes, it printed successfully. Now up on the screen I've got a sample of an EFT pay stub. I scanned it in as a PDF so that you could take a look at it. It looks a lot like a warrant and pay stub, except it's clearly not negotiable. No bank teller is going to catch this. Second, it states the deposit date the money will be available to the employee. Notice despite the similar notation, it does not use a warrant number. The number that's listed here follows the same sequence as the electronic accounting or if you have any electronic withholding payments that you've made in UAN. There are still 2 warrants to post and print, but I'll let our fiscal officer take care of that later today, since all of you are familiar with posting warrants. Of the 4 steps, while step 1 is the most time-consuming to demonstrate, it should not add extra time to your payroll day because it's nearly the same as posting warrants. And like posting warrants, it's important to understand even though we have 3 more steps, at this point the payment records are officially on your books. The wages have footed to the township's journals, decreased cash balances, and they will show up as outstanding payments on the next bank reconciliation. It looks like a done deal, but if we stop at this step, no one will actually get paid, and we'll have some very unhappy employees. To send the money through the information superhighway, we first need to create a file for upload. Remember, even if you'll be using a data entry method and will not upload a file to the bank, you will still need to create a file as if you were going to upload it. For those using data entry, this will prevent extra work for you at year end and it will produce a useful report for typing in wages on your bank's website. Now that we have posted our wages, we can create an EFT file to send to the township's bank. This is done under Payroll, Transactions, EFT. It opens a list of the payments we just posted. First, confirm the deposit date is correct. The date on this form came directly from the post date we entered when posting wages. Remember that? That's the date we intend the cash to be available in our employees' bank accounts. Since our payday of July 27th coincides with the deposit date here, we are in good shape to continue. Don't get thrown off track by the Check to Change Date checkbox. Notice the information icon to the right of it. If you find when you get to this step that your employee wages were unintentionally posted with the wrong deposit date, please contact UAN support to discuss the situation. Most of the time, it's safer just to void the wages and the payroll utilities and start over rather than deal with the potential complications of using this checkbox. We provide it as a last resort since changing the date here will not change the payroll post date in UAN. You can read more about this option in the EFT Training Handbook. You can print or display a report of the EFT batch file for your records before or after creating the file. And if you want, you can include your employees' bank account numbers on that report by marking the checkbox here. But be careful. If you print it, be sure to store the report in a secure location so it doesn't get into any thieving hands. To create the file, it's easy. Click the File button. It takes only a few seconds to create it, and it opens this very useful message. Here we have the file name and its location on the computer. In most cases, the name will be in this format unless your bank specifically requests a special file name. It will start with the letter E, followed by the deposit date listed backwards, and end with a letter such as A or B. This next system message asks us if we want to display a report of the saved EFT file. Clicking Yes will open the same report as if we had clicked on the Display button prior to creating the file. I'll click Yes to show you the report. As you can see, this report presents a nice summary of the wages and lists a grand total of all wages in the batch file. You can click on the printer icon to print the report. I'll click Close to return to the EFT form. See how all the EFT payments disappeared? That is normal because the file has already been saved to the hard drive, so there's no need to display it here. If your governing board adopts a policy to send employees EFT pay stubs by email, then you will need to complete additional setup procedures before you can start sending them these emails. For more information, see Appendix 1 of the EFT Training Handbook and the corresponding videos. Our next step is to upload the file to the bank, or if you use the data entry method, you can skip to step number 4. When you get to this point, you'll need your bank's instructions for this part. Usually it's pretty easy. Normally involves clicking a button on your bank's website to browse your computer and pick the file to upload. Remember, UAN will always place the file in the C_UAN_E-files folder. When it's finished, the bank will usually send some type of confirmation that it uploaded successfully. Your bank may have additional instructions. This can vary from bank to bank, so be sure to discuss this topic with your representative. You should delete the file immediately after a successful upload. If someone were to steal your computer, the thief could potentially get access to your employees' bank account numbers because the EFT file is not password protected like your UAN application. Gotcha. Don't worry, if for any reason you need to recreate the file, you can easily do that using the Payroll EFT utility. Be sure to watch the video on how to set UAN to delete files automatically after a set number of days as a second level protection. I hope this was helpful. If you need assistance with the steps shown in this video, please contact UAN support using the information provided on the screen. All the videos in the EFT series qualify for House Bill 10 training. If you have any questions about self-reporting, please call or email your question using the contact information on the screen. By itself, this video is not long enough to self-report. If you have only watched this video, you cannot self-report the time. However, if you watch more videos in the EFT series and their combined time is at least 30 minutes, you can self-report the combined time.